Welcome back to the Outer East Footy Show on GameFace. My name's Dan Lonigan. The coach is here as well. We're at the Upwey Tacoma Football Club, beautiful Upwey Tacoma Football Club. The players are training behind us. Matt Foddia, who is the media manager, I'm going to call him the media manager, at the Outer East Football Club and calls the footy every week, is with us as well. Matt, let's have a look at Division 1. Again, they had the week off for the Interleague match last week. The first match, Monbulk and Pakenham. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, well, I'll be watching that one. That'll be where I'll be on the weekend, Dan, for those who want to tune into these dulcet tones. Top of the table clash, Monbulk's first home game on their new facility with the bottom level of their rooms done, not the top level. It's a pretty similar setup to this one. Really exciting game. It'll be interesting to see how Pakenham go on the smaller ground because their firepower is not really the attacking one. They're more of a hold other teams, and they haven't really blown a side out of the water in terms of their attacking score, but they've been quite good in terms of holding sides to low scores, and Monbulk probably could have scored a lot more if they could kick straight. They've had a lot of scoring shots each week, so I think Monbulk are going to be a pretty good side this year. They haven't hit their straps at all, and they're 4-0. They've beaten Officer at home, so they know how to play on a bigger ground, but now coming back to Monbulk, pressure's on Pakenham because they'll be playing away. So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Monbulk go at home and what the occasion's like.
And where are you calling from? Because isn't the new facility almost ready?
It's almost ready. So ideally, we would have been on the top level, like we would have here at Upwey. When we called here, we were on the balcony, which was a great view. I think Monbulk will be in the van. So cameraman Jason does a wonderful job. He stands atop the van. Buckles himself in there, and so we can't shake our knees or get too excited, or we throw him overboard. And then Leo, myself, and Walshy will be within the van there, calling on centre wing. So the ground's got a bit of a slope, so it's a bit hard to see the other side of the ground sometimes. But when you've got 20/20 vision like myself, touch wood, it remains around. And Leo's got the binoculars, we should be fine. But looking forward to Monbulk being finished in the coming weeks.
So you don't call with binoculars?
No, I don't own a pair as of yet, so.
Well,
would you recommend?
Absolutely. I mean, I use them all the time. They're the most important tools of my trade, and they've been the most important tools of my trade for, over 25 years. I wasn't too keen early and didn't know how to use them early, but you can't be without them. I don't think you can anyway.
How much does a good pair of binoculars cost?
Well, the last pair I had, $350 at the binocular shop in Toorak Road, even though they're not a client yet, but hopefully they will be a client once they watch us.
I was about to say, do we have a binocular sponsor?
Well, it's up to me to go and find one now, isn't it? After I've just given them a great plug, they are fantastic, and I just think they're handy to have to be able to see the other side of the ground, and you pick things up that you do miss with your eyes at times.
I would suggest, probably on the bigger grounds. We've been at Beaconsfield and stuff like that. I did think, maybe I'll need them. We've obviously got the replay screen and the stuff like that within the van, but when you're calling games off a balcony. Grounds like Upwey, you're pretty fine, as you can see. You can see everything pretty clearly, but not so much at Beaconsfield and the like. But, so there you go, something I'll have to fork out to, unless we can get a binocular sponsor. Of course, you can hit me up, get in touch with my people. But anyway, tipping on this game, I'm going to go Monbulk at home. I'm really excited to see the Hawks continue on their merry way.
Yeah, I think Monbulk can just beat Pakenham. Should be certainly a great match. It is the match of the day, the two best teams in the comp so far. What about Emerald and Warburton Millgrove? How do you see this one?
It's a difficult one. Emerald are probably going better than 0-4 suggests, but they would tip to go a lot better than that. The loss to Belgrave at home in round 2 definitely would have hurt, but then Belgrave themselves were defeated by Warburton Millgrove. So if Warby can pinch a win here, and it might not be pinch, they've been beaten pretty handily at home twice, but they've been better in the other 2 games. If Warby can pinch a win here, that's 2 wins already. The momentum builds. Emerald will then be 0-5, and probably just the momentum, as I just mentioned, is going to suck it away from them. So Emerald desperately need a win here. They've got some good players. They've picked them up. They might just be taking a while to gel. The week off might have helped. They can have a week working on structures. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. I'm going to go with Emerald.
They're a well-run club off the ground. Why do you think it's not working on the ground for them yet?
Again, it might just be that gelling. They've had a fairly tough run of it. They started with Pakenham, which in hindsight, initially it was not that big of a clash, but in hindsight it's Pakenham are a really good side. They've played Man Evelyn. They've also played Monbulk. And then the Belgrave loss, they did hit the front in the last quarter with more men on the bench, so they probably should have. That was the most disappointing one. So they need to get back on track with the win against Belgrave. The beauty of Division 1 is the side that probably sneaks into 5th is going to be one that has maybe not even have a positive win-loss ratio, because the top 4 look like they're going to have a pretty handy win-loss ratio. So Emerald, Belgrave, Warby, they'll all be looking at that spot, trying to just jump in there.
Not sure about that, about losing more games than you win like Officer did last year in the Sefnal. Man Evelyn and Doveton and Officer and Belgrave. How do you see those games going?
Man Evelyn at home to Doveton will be an interesting one. Doveton have played at Warburton, which is longish, it's not as small as the other grounds there. Mount Evelyn's pretty tiny. They're a good side. They'll be hurting because they would have really fancied their chances against Pakenham, and they're well held. They're usually a pretty free-flowing side, but as are Doveton, so it could be a high-scoring one there. I'm going to stick with my home ground sort of theme at the moment. No one's bucked that trend as of yet, so I'm going to go with Mount Evelyn. In the other game, Belgrave did all right on the big ground against Doveton, and Nathan Johns mentioned a couple of times. He's coached at Crib Point. He's played on bigger grounds. He's set teams up for bigger grounds, so they might go a bit better than people are expecting away from home. But Officer got a much-needed win last time out against Warburton, and I think they're going to make it 2 in a row.
It should be 2 fascinating games. Doveton obviously need to kick better. 9-20 the last time they played. Now, as we said, Pakenham and Monbulk matter undefeated after 4 rounds. Pakenham on top because of a better percentage. And we also touched on the fact that Emerald looking to win their first game of the season. Now, Division 2, they played last week, round 5, and they were high-scoring games. It was a great day for footy. Powertown 18-13, 121 beat Alexandrov 14-8, 92. Yarra Junction 27-15, 177. They absolutely annihilated Seville 13-11, 89. Thornton Ilden were walloped by Kinglake 5-5-35, a 114-point margin, 21-23, 149 for Kinglake. And Yarra Glen belted Yea by an even 100 points, Matt, 19-15, 129 to 4-5, 29. Any of those results surprised you, particularly the margins?
Yarra Junction and Seville. Seville have got injuries, but in a grand final rematch from last year. But to be fair, I think Seville might have even improved on that margin from last year in the grand final. So obviously Yarra Junction line up well against them. David Johnson, your recruit, kicked 5. Sam Morton's kicked 3 bags of 5 in a row now. The small forward for the Yarra Junction Eagles, so he's going all guns. Thornton Ilden, the scoreline's obviously a pretty big one, but it's all relevant last year. That's actually quite good for them. And Kinglake, Andrew Fairchild kicked 12, so the coach just positioned himself down in the goal square, and I think all the boys might have been on instructions, if you don't kick it to me, you're dropped. So they've got a few more tests coming up in the coming weeks, Kinglake. They've done so. They're undefeated so far, but a few more tests in the next month or so. But Powertown celebrated their 100th year anniversary with a good win over Alexandrov. Spoke to their coach today, Tuesday night, of course, we're recording this, Dan, and put an article out on this evening, and they're going okay. He's expecting them to improve as the year goes on.
And Yea, of course, at home playing near Coaches Lake, beaten by the River Pigs. Now, that is one of the great names in footy. Do you know why they're called the River Pigs?
Not off the top of my head, no. I'm not sure whether it was a comment on the people that first founded the club or anything like that. I don't know if a few big boys from the settlers came down and they might have eaten a few too many crabs or something when they landed. But I'm not sure. The River Pigs. It's a great club though, and they do have a couple of hog heads in the rooms, and I really enjoy Yarra Glen going down there. It's a great club, so. You know, I think they were sort of flirted with the Thunder for a while, but it didn't resonate well with the fan base. When you call the River Pigs, you've got to own it and stick with it.
Well, it's a great name, and I'm glad they've gone for something a bit different. Look forward to getting down to the River Pig country at Yarra Glen. Kinglake going beautifully on top of the table at the moment, but the 2 Yarra teams, Glen and Junction, also playing very good footy. And talking of which, it is probably the local derby, isn't it, between Yarra Glen and Yarra Junction. Not that I know the area as well as you do, Matt, but because they've got Yarras in front of their names, that's why I've gone for the local rivalry.
It's an educated guess, but unfortunately
wrong guess.
It's probably wrong. So Yarra Glen's probably on the Melba sort of side of things, along with Hillsville, and then you got Yarra Junction fairway out up the Warby Highway. But it should. Oh
well, geography's never been my strong point. I had to have a crack.
Neither you or the coach. Coach not really good with his sort of bodies of water, and you're just sort of taking stabs at where people are from. It'll be a good game. And it's a big game more for Yarra Glen. Really see where they're at. They knocked off Seville by 2 goals, but as we saw, Yarra Junction really pumped Seville. Whether that's a match-up thing or whether that's just like Seville's injuries catching up with them. Yarra Glen going pretty well, winning the games they should. Lost to Kinglake just. So, yeah, really interesting game. I'm going to tip Yarra Junction, though. They seem that they had a hiccup in round 1, but since then they've been really, really impressive, and they've got some pretty good attacking weapons. Tyson Wheeler only kicked 3 on the weekend. We're not even talking about him. He's a good player as well. So
you can't barrack while broadcasting, Matt, but look, what the heck. The River Pigs, Yarra Glen for me.
You can. There's plenty of people in the sphere higher than us, Dan, that support, and there's nothing wrong with that. You've got your team, you can go for your team, so I'm happy for you to jump on the River Pig bandwagon.
Yeah, a couple of Carlton commentators not happy with the Blues on the weekend against the Giants, but no pack drill. Quickly through the other games, Kinglake and Powertown.
Interesting one to the fact that Powertown they are fifth and they want to break into that sort of top 4 area of someone that can actually go for the flag. Kinglake are obviously the front runners at the moment, but have only played Yarra Glen of the people around them. They should win at home, Kinglake. But Jack Garthwaite kicked 5 goals this week for Powertown. Was Team of the Year full-back last year. Spoke to their coach. He'll probably play back this week with the Twin Towers of Horman and Fairchild. So I'm going to go with the Lakers, but Powertown are a good team on their day.
Several in the top 4, and they need, though, a much better performance after last week. Alexandrov have won a couple, going okay. Several at home, though?
Yeah, Alex, last 3 years, made the elimination final and lost every one. So their coach wants them to, let's actually put in a real red-hot crack here and not be happy with that. Played okay against Powertown. It's a high-scoring ground, lost by 5 goals in a good game of footy. Seville, it's a big month for them. I wrote about it on Monday that, they're going okay and they're winning games they should win, but they've got injuries now. And if they don't want to fall back too far, they'll probably still make finals, but it's harder to come from 5th than it is to come from 3rd. They need to make sure they knock off Alexandra because they've still got Kinglake to come and they've still got, I can't remember who, Jim Brooke as well to come in the next month. So they need to make sure they win this game against Alexandra, or else it could start a big slide.
Well, Jim Brooke, if they want to play finals, must beat Yea at the lake, or they're not playing at the lake, they're playing at Jim Brooke, but Yea are travelling from the lake to play Jim Brooke, which is obviously an inland team. You think Jim Brooke will win that?
Yeah, Jim Brooke should win that, but Yea are improving every week. They're starting to get a couple of players back from injury. It's quite cyclical up there with the country town. In terms of their form, it's quite hard to continually build when players can move for university and work and move a fair way away from their ground. Jim Brooke, though, get a win here. They'll be up to 4 wins, including the bye, so 3 and 1 there, including the bye. So they'll be starting to create some momentum themselves as well. And I'm pretty sure they don't have a lake in Gembrook. A lot of spud farms, but not exactly a lake there. His coach is frantically trying to find something on his maps. But yeah, Gembrook to get the win.
We must remember, of course, it's Gembrook Cockatoo joining forces there, and Thornton Eildon. They have the bye this week. Well,
that'll be their first points for the year, Shim bonus.
Of course, you get a bye. You get 4 points for a bye. Again, I'm not madly in love with that, but it seems to work in this competition, so who cares what I think?
Neither am I, Dan, but again, as you said, no one really cares what we think. There we go. Coach had to get his moment in the sun.
Hello, Coach.
I did. Now, I can't think of the reserve that's up near Seville. The water. What's the water reserve? Not Cardinia. We did that last week, didn't we?
There used to be a little pool next to Seville.
There used to be a Linda pool, and then that closed, and then they opened that up again. Oh, there
we're
we go.
We're going to have to do our own GameFace show on bodies of water because we're taking too much time away from the football.
And also on locations, if I'm thinking about local rivalries.
Sort of postcards, coaches' postcards at bodies of water.
I can't believe I can't remember that. It's a reserve. People all know. It's up near Man Evelyn. It's up that way.
Man Evelyn, Seville.
Yeah, it's around there. But anyway, I know my lakes. Next week, I promise, I'll be better. Look, I'm directing.
Did you pass geography at school, Coach?
Well, I'm doing better than you.
I did all right at geography, Coach.
You said before you didn't have any idea about geography.
No, well, that was at school. It was 30 years ago. I was okay at geography because you could learn things off by heart as long as you didn't understand them.
Sounds like a Bill Shorten line to me.
Thank you, Coach. You had to get that in, didn't you? The elections are done and dusted. Winners are grinners. Losers can please themselves. It's going to be a big round of footy in the Outer East. We'll be back to talk all about it next week and preview the following week. Good on you, Matt. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next week.
Always a pleasure, Dan.
Get your game face on.